Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. My name is Angel, and I'm in the process of making more space for my natural soul's expression. And I invite you to come along with me. There's been like so many really beautiful nuggets and downloads and hits and sparks from my spirit that I've been like, oh, that'd be a good YouTube thing. That'd be a good YouTube thing. That'd be a good YouTube thing. And yet, I keep bumping up against the perfectionism piece. I'm gonna get quiet. I'm just gonna get quiet. I'm just gonna get quiet. I've been in a recalibration with all the changes in my environment and the continuation of my work, which also feels like change because it's a new level. And the more growth that I go through and the more expansion that happens, it all can be a lot. But what's neat is I've been able to recalibrate rather than collapse. So to meet myself where I am with grace and compassion and patience, um, to be able to soothe the nervous system within the changes has been really, really great. Really great. I think some of the stuff that I feel like may come up in today's chat, I think is repetitive from the last one. It's stuff that I'm still processing and I'd like to add on to. So, yeah, to recalibrate versus collapse under the pressures of everlasting change and chaos. Chaos meaning there's still the underlying thing of, well, okay, so this is what came in yesterday. The do, you know how sometimes you can hear cliche phrases of like two truths can be true at the same time? Well, right now, the two things that I'm holding are like, it, this is what I mean. Because I can't perfectly articulate my thoughts, I feel like I shouldn't even be on here. But I need to remember it's not about perfection. It's simply about showing up. And if the name of the game is to make more space for my spirit, then I just want to breathe into this, ground. So give me a moment. It's okay to not have all your thoughts perfectly articulated in order to share. So, what you're seeing now, this type of resistance, is so easy for me to slip into and then talk myself out of doing the thing, whatever the thing is in the moment. So, I was trying to get to the bottom of what is at the root of that resistance. Because while I can be so excited of having clarity around my soul's mission, having clarity around some of my core beliefs and values and um, willingness to assist in the ways that I think I can, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of excitement, stoicism around like, oh, I have clarity. I have these skills. I have a deep-seated understanding from my life experience. I I am excited to help, right? And then you get caught up with the what's real, like right in front of you, the worries of the world. Um, the worries of the world alone can have people thinking, like, what's the fucking point? The news, media in all forms will have you thinking like the dark side is winning, and it could be very discouraging. I think that's a very real experience for humans. I say for humans because my being, the higher self, she's sure. Maybe we should ask her. Let's ask her. Spirit, why are you so sure about my life's journey or what you came here to do? For science, let's do it. Spirit, why are you so sure about what you came here to do? It's all a game. It's all a game. And the object of the game is to have as much fun as possible, to share as much light as possible. I'm just going to breathe into this. Full surrender. That's been a theme is full surrender. Have you noticed the stories that you tell yourself can either make you play super duper small and dim your light versus the ones that you tell yourself that help you to empower yourself and go after the big goals, do the hard thing, do the scary thing, and the fruits of both of those labors. When you play small, it's very just lower vibrational, right? Blame, shame, guilt, judgment, criticism. I overheard a creator once say that those are so lower vibrational that they vibrate closest to death. And I couldn't quite understand what she meant in the time in the moment, but as I tap into source now, it's it is. You move slower, your head's hanging lower, your palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. But then on the flip side, when we are hopeful, are excited, do have purpose, do have meaning, and can live from an authentic place, it's expansive, it's creative, it's bright, it's light, it's happy, it's joyful, it's authentic. And for some reason, my soul thinks and knows, my soul knows that that's what helps to raise the vibration of the planet. If, I mean, think about it, right? If more of us did it, if more of us were operating on high vibes, but it's not about living in a high vibrational state 100% of the time. It is, in fact, about the duality. Angel, you are in the right space at the right time because you're noticing the duality of it. I could feel the hopelessness of it all, and I can feel the hopefulness of it all. And it's not necessarily about ignoring the worries of the world or the lower vibrational things. Those are very real. In fact, oftentimes it's important to tune into those things so that you can feel the despair, the sadness, and suffering. I think it's important to feel those things because then it can help you become a little more clear of what you do want to embody and embark on. I have this phrase that I got from a movie once. You can't change the world, but you can change your little piece of it. And that was empowering because as a sensitive person who can feel all the things, I was like, what? And tell me if this resonates with you, right? Like, what change can one little old me make, one person in the grand scheme of things? But if we apply that, you can't change the whole world. You can change your little piece of it. Then everything becomes that deep. Everything becomes that serious. And that's when I started taking even my normal interactions at the grocery store, the homeless people, you know, really seeing them and yeah, just helping them to be seen, heard, and understood, thus igniting their light a little. Okay, so that's all pertaining to the thing of my recalibration stage, right? Of moving into a new place and trying to soothe the nervous system within all the changes, noticing this duality piece, noticing this duality piece, um, and reminding myself that it goes back to the power of choice, right? I'm also in a very beautiful voice memo back and forth conversation with a pal of mine where he sent me a piece of content that had to do with like the earth is shifting, is breaking into two, the old earth and the new earth. And if you're in the spiritual community, you've heard this from time to time, right? I first started hearing about the concept of multiple realities being lived at the same time in 2012, and that depending on uh, what you're choosing and what you believe in will ensure what reality you're living in. Right. So I can't help but think this is in the same conversation. And he asked me about my process. He's like, I feel like you understand this post. And to a certain degree, I do. I think it's all an expansion and things are ever changing. And, you know, I'm only, I'm very new into fully surrendering to what excuse me, I have to burp, what my soul wants, excuse me, thank you, what my soul wants to embark on, what she wants me to learn, and where she wants to take me, right? Surrendering to the inner guidance. And so I have a very limited understanding of old earth, new earth. But what I do have an understanding of as someone who's lived in survival mode for a majority of her life and is now choosing to heal, choosing to live more authentically so that I might be able to thrive in this life. And to me, thriving just means living authentically, living a life I don't want to run from, run, numb, or hide from. And thus, and it's expanded past that now. It's like living a life that I want to be fully present in, you know? And so when he asked about, well, because he sent the content, he said, I think you'd understand this post. I said, oh, yeah, I understand it to a certain degree. I said, he said he was kind of struggling with the concept. I said, well, I think it's about finding practices of self devotion, getting clear on what side you're on, right? Do you want to, do you want to succumb and give your power away to all the suffering and be shrunk your whole life? And, you know, or do you want to live a more expanded embodiment of authenticity and joy so that we might be able to have a fighting chance against this shit? And he was like, well, can you expand on that? What's your process? And that was very new for me, having to articulate or trying to articulate, being invited to articulate, being invited to articulate my process. And I had to think about it. I really had to think about it. Um, and so I kind of told him, I was like, well, maybe it's about getting clear on what side you want to be on, and then creating some devotional practices that help you to tune into those choices and practice choosing and living from those spaces. Um, and I just kind of left it at that at first because you don't want to overwhelm. And as you know, if you're on this journey with me, you can tell that I have a very neurodivergent way of thinking, associative thinking. One word will spark a song, will spark a memory, will spark another lesson. And I think some of what YouTube is teaching me is to really be concise and congruent with my thinking. Is it working? I have no fucking clue because I'm not watching these things back. Um, but I can feel the the overthinking that comes when I'm like, did that make sense? Were those thoughts cohesive? Is am I being understood? And I'm trying desperately, not desperately, but I'm really trying not to make this YouTube thing about the likes. Like I'm trying not to seek external validation from likes and who's watching and how many people are watching. And so when I find myself in those anxious thoughts of, are these thoughts being seen, heard, understood? Are they relatable, resonant? Are they coherent, concise, all those things? When I tap in those anxieties, it's, well, concise thinking um, and speaking is a skill, right? So if you're worried about your storytelling, if you're worried about your information relaying skills, go take a go take a speech class. Go. So I'm sharpening skills on the other side. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the other download that I got was Angel, continue your work of evolution as you create and bring forth and be seen in the world. Okay, so been on a congruent or not a recalibration journey, which is really cool because I've been able not to collapse underneath the pressure, which in and of itself it can be so incredible on many levels, right? Not just personal, but all levels. Um, the two biggest things that have been coming up are the stories that we tell ourselves, yes, but also the concept of expansion, you know? Um, and why is that? Let me get quiet. The concept of expansion is super important because now that I have found a little bit of clarity of like, my personal mission, my soul's work, and what I think is necessary for the world. Um, Now I can expand on that. For instance, I've launched this pilot program of coaching, and I've already wanted to make change. I'm in the process of making changes to it, expanding on it, and further supporting these women so that when it comes time to fully launch, they can feel supported and safe and trust me and thus trusting themselves. The concept of expansion is good because when we're talking about changing our little piece of the world, hold on, another thought is coming in. I apologize. When we're talking about changing our little piece of the world, what's coming in my mind's eye is there is a movie called like Fantastical Beast. It's based in like the Harry Potter universe, but it's a side. side story. And there's one animal, one beast that it will take up as much space as you give it. And so he tends to keep it in like a small container to keep the animal small, but it ends up getting free. Spoiler, it ends up getting free and exits into this room and takes up all the space of the room. Well, the more that we tune in and we grow and expand, and this is why getting clear on what side of the what what side you want to be on is important because as you expand in that world, you're hitting uh more eyes, hearts, minds, souls, and you're leveling up in your world too. You're taking up more space. And so the concept of expansion is really neat because and it can be scary too. There's another duality. As you expand, you're building capacity. You're building capacity for more love, more compassion, more strength, more health, wealth, love, guidance, trust, safety, clarity, communication, community. I get excited about these things. I get excited about these things because we were never meant to do life alone. And in this individualistic culture, you can often believe that. But I think more and more people are waking up to lives that they didn't create for themselves. And there's a sense of feeling lost. And so that recalibration piece also comes in as a form of like orientating oneself into like some sort of surety, some sort of knowing who the fuck you are and what the fuck you came here to do, if anything. And if you came here to just chill, phew, as long as you know and you're in alignment, you're living from an authentic place, then isn't that good? I'm all over the place today. And this is so being all over the place and having a fear that I can't articulate things fluidly has kept me offline. I will be so fucking for real right now. There's just so many things I'm working on, you know? So I'm practicing being a little more organized with like my even my to-do list, right? Even the program itself. Okay, you've launched this pilot. Now there's things to do. I want to make it better. I want to continue to support the women and I want to launch soon. So I want to get all the systems in place and ready. So that's already layers to just that. But then we're talking about my own journey and I'm like, okay, the next level is to and then I have my own list of things to do there. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm just hearing like that's why tuning into my spirit is so fucking important. So keep showing up, Angel. I keep hearing like blinders up and double down. Remove all the distractions, double down and keep showing up because this is the practice that's going to ground me, to keep me grounded throughout it all. I'm hearing it's a form of metacognition. It's a form of kind of journaling, right? Getting everything outside of myself so that I can um, find the truth of it all for myself. I'm doing it for me, but I'm also doing it to show those who are watching that one, it's possible to get outside of yourself and to hone in and get to the truth of things, and then to live from that said truth. It is possible. There's a part of this too that's kind of like a lighthouse, a beacon for like-minded individuals who wish to expand, because I think we expand more and faster in community. What else? Recalibration also allows room for change, room for fluidity, room for flexibility. You know, I've tried to when I first heard the download of Double Down, I was like, "Oh, okay, then I need to really hone into the rituals and habits that have kept me steady in the last 2 years, which was completely different than what this next phase represents. I thought doubling down meant, okay, you know, really, really anchor into all those old practices. But doubling down is like just tuning in to myself, putting up the blinders, removing all distractions, tuning into what this now me needs. This now me needs something completely different than that now, that then me. She was so dysregulated, so in her healing that, she needed a lot of isolation. She needed a lot of silence. She needed a lot of, um, the stories were different, essentially. I was challenging a lot of stories of like feeling broken, feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, feeling shameful. So I had to, those are the stories that I was rewriting. And so the tools are super cool because those are going to be the same and those are what I'm going to be expanding on in this next phase of life. But, reframe, uh, flipping the script, rewriting old stories, creating more neural pathways around healing and connection to the inner child and the future self. And now the needs are different. The needs are like, okay, I'm with myself now. Ha- the question the question that's being popped up is like, where do we go from here? And I think part of that recalibration can often be just like sitting in. Yeah. Okay, so my sister and I often say this phrase called sit and savor. I have a tendency of like, oh, I accomplished this, on to the next, right? I did such big work over those last 2 years that it's okay. Part of the recalibration is to rest and to sit and to really bask in and embody the fruits of the labor. That's a lot. It's a lot. I'm gonna get quiet really quickly. What's funny about the question of where do we go from here is oftentimes I never know where I'm going. Not fully. The human side of me. My soul is very, very sure on what she came here to do and where she wants to lead me. But there is resistance because I am human and I do have human feelings. Um, I do get self-conscious. I do have resistances. But the funny thing about the question of where do we go from here is you you just have to move. Taking one step in any direction will uncover the next step, will uncover more clarity. And this is why it's important to ground because when you're in alignment with oneself, you're more open to receive those downloads, the internal guidances, to notice when a path is opening up, to be clear on the next step. And perhaps that's it. Perhaps at the root of it all, the name of the game is just to make yourself so available to receive guidance and then also to make yourself available to move. So there comes strength in the confidence and the bravourism, right? So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I'm also in the process of just continuing moving forward on this expansion piece. And so my whiteboard, it's had the same work on it for 2 years, a little under 2 years. And it was all about capacity building. And in fact, through my work of capacity building and identity shifting for my own self is where I came up with the outline for my coaching program. And now that I want to expand on all that, today is a really weird day. Today's an extra weird day of it's time to erase what's there and embark on the next phase of work that will then be added onto this last phase of life. Um, so I'm feeling called to say, I think it's time now that I've been practicing being seen in all of this, and I'm stepping out of needing to prove myself to anybody or prove my worth or prove my expertise or whatever it may be that was holding me back from being seen, because it was like a fear of rejection, right? A fear of rejection. Who are you to do this work? Um, uh, yeah, I think that would probably be the biggest one. Who are you to be doing this work and being rejected? Um, was keeping that fear of being seen alive. And I think the practice with showing up on YouTube has definitely unraveled a lot of those stories. In therapy, I've taken up the shame work again, just at a different level, the next level of which I have the capacity for. So I am working through that stuff, the deeper stuff, which is so trippy, dude. Revisiting the shame work, and that's got layers too. That's got the ancestral traumas, that's got the familial traumas, it's got my own personal life experience. Like, holy shit, you know? So when I say it's a lot, I'm working on a lot, but but it's nice. Um, So let me go back to what I was saying is today's a weird day. I'm going to be erasing the whiteboard. Don't worry, I'm documenting everything and then I'll be documenting what comes up next. But I'm ready to be, I'm feeling called to be ready to be seen in my desires. Ooh, now it's getting juicy. That's the next level. The expansion is being led to the next level of visibility, which is being okay being seen in my desires. You know, it'll be messy. It'll be just as messy as this all has been. Um, Being seen in my desires. What does that mean to me? What does that mean to me? Let me get quiet. Being seen in my desires. Perhaps I'll meditate on that and record another video because this is getting a bit long for me. Um, so cheers to the recalibration stage because I've been able to recalibrate and not collapse. And through the recalibration stage, I'm being invited to expand as I always do. And through, because, okay, because none of this is new. Every, all the conversations I've been having in all of these videos aren't necessarily new for me in my life. Documenting it is new, being seen in it is new. And um, so processing these things in real time is new, being here. But I've always been called. I always find myself back into these expansive pieces, into these um, inward explorative moments and channeling those into outward assistance and growth in some way, shape, or form. It's just being seen in it now on these grander schemes is the new part for me. So, yes. So cheers to recalibration. Cheers to not collapsing in the midst of change. Oh, the other part that's new is I'm with myself. I am no longer abandoning myself to be of service to my community in these ways, to making my little piece of the world better. It's no longer rooted in self-abandonment. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to end that there. because the next level is to be seen in my desires. And I think that deserves a different video. All right, that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And, even if these videos are for me, I'm really fucking proud of myself.